Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, Master of the Nightmares. Let's get to it. The Master level difficulty for Nightmare Hunts is available, and what does that mean? It means that the most difficult activity for Nightmare Hunts is available, and by completing that, once per week per character, you can get one pinnacle drop each. Now, all the previous levels of the Nightmare Hunts have actually been in preparation for the Master Nightmare Hunt. So the Adept was preparing you for the Hero was preparing you for the Legend, and the Legend was preparing you for Master. And what I mean by that is that the mods that you were getting along the way while you were playing the Adept, the Hero, the Legend, was getting you ready to play the Master. Playing the Master at your current level, whatever that happens to be, whether that happens to be 950, 960, 940, 980, although I doubt that many people are at that level, it won't matter too much if you do not have the mods to go with it. So there are 4 different mods that you can have on your armor, and that is the Dreambane mod, which will up your resistance to nightmare damage. Then you have an Arc mod, and that is Nightmare Banisher, which gives you extra damage to your super against nightmare bosses, and it does not stack with other mods that give you the same benefit. And these are regular, enhanced, and supreme. So obviously, if you're doing the Master Nightmare Hunt, you are going to want the supreme version of that mod, if at all possible. And in order to get that, you're going to play the Legend Nightmare Hunts. So if you've not played any Legend Nightmare Hunts, I would suggest starting there. Do your 3 Nightmare Hunts. Hopefully you will get those Supreme, but you will not get the Supreme before you get the Enhanced or the Regular. So you have to get the Regular, then the Enhanced, then you'll get the Supreme. And then we have the Solar mod, and these all will go into that last slot, the Vex or Season of Unyielding armor slot. So then we have the Solar mod, which is Nightmare Breaker, which gives you additional damage against enemy shields created by nightmare bosses. So all those enemies with solar shields at the end that are running around with the boss, those guys have resilient shields, and with the Nightmare Breaker mod, you are going to do extra damage against those shields. So instead of doing a small amount of damage, you're going to do a normal amount of damage or extra damage depending on what version you have, regular, enhanced, or supreme. And lastly, we have the Void mod. And the Void mod is Nightmare Crusher, which gives you extra damage to your melee and grenade abilities against nightmare bosses. And of course, this does not stack as well. So you will need 1 piece of armor with Solar, 1 piece of armor with Void, and 1 piece of armor with Arc. And it has to have that Season of Unyielding slot on it in order to put those Dreambane mods on it. So of course, this leaves you with 2 pieces of armor that you can put those Dreambane mods that'll give you extra resistance to damage. And of course, those are the only ones that stack. So 2 of those, and then of course all the Nightmare Banishers, Crushers, etc. Now, as usual, the Nightmare bosses rotate every week. The current week, it's the Fanatic, Crota, and Fogoth. And of those 3, I would recommend either doing Fogoth or the Fanatic. Crota is very difficult, even on Legend, so Master would be even more so. If you have a strategy for taking care of Crota without anyone going down on Legend, I'd like to know in the comments, so go ahead and put that down there. Otherwise, I'd strongly recommend either doing the Fanatic or Fogoth. Fogoth could be a little bit of a problem if you get into a situation where you're getting swarmed by enemies and Fogoth is hitting you with his I-beam. So this one is with the Fanatic, and you can see how we did it there. Additionally, you want to look at all the modifiers for the particular encounter that you're going into. So match game, that's usually something that's going to happen on these higher difficulty levels. So shields must match with the element. So if you're just using kinetic, it's going to take a lot of rounds to take out that shield. If you're using a subclass or energy or heavy weapon, then you're going to take that shield down much faster, but only if it matches element. So if it's an arc shield and you're using a solar weapon, it's not going to help you at all. It's really going to take a lot more ammo to take out that shield. So it is best to use arc and solar subclasses and energy and power weapons, because that is what you see most of the time throughout the mission. And of course, at the end, you're going to see a lot of solar shields. Additionally, you want to look at the champions. On master difficulty, there's going to be 2 types of champions, plus you're going to have more champions than usual. You're going to have champion mobs, or have more champions show up. So more than likely, you're going to see 2 champions side by side, which is going to be difficult to take them out. Now, you may be saying, why would I want to take them out? Couldn't I just bypass them if that door is open or that next area is available? Can't I just run past them? You could run past them, but one of the reasons to do the higher difficulty levels of the nightmare hunts is for the rewards. So if you want the best rewards, you want the best loot pool, and you want the best draw from the loot pool, which means that you're going to do the master difficulty level, and you're going to take out all the champions and try to finish in a relatively good amount of time so that you get that platinum reward level. If you start at bronze, if you get the bronze, you're going to have the worst draw. Silver, gold, platinum is the best, so platinum will give you the best chance of the best drops. Gold is the next, and so forth and so on. You want to shoot for the platinum, but if you get the gold, you're still okay. It just isn't as good. And in order to get the platinum, you need to take out every single champion and finish within X amount of time. I believe it's 20 minutes, but I could be incorrect there. Now, I would say as far as the champions go, to work together, so if you have barrier champions and unstoppable champions, that let's say you have 2 players with kinetic weapons, either, submachine guns or auto rifles or bows or what have you, hand cannons that have anti-barrier rounds, and then the third person will have rounds for that other type of champion. So if it's barrier and overload, that third player has overload rounds in their kinetic slot. If it's unstoppable rounds, you get the idea. Additionally, you can also have players using unstoppable melees, overload grenades. So that will further your cause and make it just a little bit easier, so you're not waiting for that one person to stagger the champion, or 2 people. And I do recommend 2 people with anti-barrier rounds, because if one person is reloading, that champion is going to start regenerating health, and at master difficulty level, they regenerate very, very quickly. So it is best to have 2 people, because the odds of both people reloading at the same time is relatively slim. So coordination between your fire team members, very important, and make sure that you have those things that will help you out with the champions on each character. The third character, of course, is going to be doubling up on that unstoppable or overload champion. So they're going to have the unstoppable rounds plus unstoppable melee, or they're going to have overload grenades and the overload rounds, what have you. Now, of course, you can use Ariana's Vow if you so choose, because that will give you anti-barrier in the energy slot. And of course, it uses special ammo, so it does a decent amount of damage. And then you can have overload rounds or unstoppable rounds in your kinetic slot. Choice is up to you. Whatever loadout feels the best for you within certain restrictions, because you know that anti-barrier rounds, unstoppable rounds, etc., they are only for certain weapons: submachine guns, auto rifles, hand cannons, and the bow. Now, because it is 980, you're going to be at a deficit. You will be up against more difficult opponents. They're going to have that red symbol next to their health bar that indicates that, hey, these guys are a higher level than you. If you're really underpowered, you may see a skull and you might do very little damage, or if you're really underpowered, you won't be able to do any damage to him. Now, attempting the Master Nightmare Hunt, I would strongly recommend that you are a minimum of 950, just because of the damage that you're doing is going to be less, and the damage that you're going to be taking is going to be more, and you don't want to be one-shotted, if at all possible. But just remember, things like grenades or stronger enemy weapons are going to take you down very quickly, possibly in one hit. Now, on the Fanatic, specifically, when you get to the end with the boss, I recommend staying in that very initial part as you enter the room. There is a little bit of cover. You can spread out a little bit so that when the Fanatic does his area of attack, that one or maybe two people might get caught in it. One or two people may go down, but that third person should be able to stay alive. And that is really what you're looking for. Stay alive, do damage to the ads, and then once the shield comes down off of the Nightmare boss, then you go ahead and do damage. Make sure that you have those mods on your armor and just rinse and repeat. When the shield comes back up, he's immune. You damage the ads. Whoever has solar damage, take out those shields. Take out the small nightmares. Once those small nightmares go down, then the boss will be in the damage phase. Do damage to him again, and he's going to become immune 3 or 4, possibly 5 times before you take him out. Do make sure that you're using your supers against the boss, especially if you have that mod. And I do strongly recommend that you're using all 3 mods. If A, you have them all, and B, you have the different flavors of armor that you can put them on. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Guardian down. 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 Guardian down.